Be prepared. We are standing at the edge of one of the rarest celestial moments of 2026. Once in a decade, the sky arranges itself in a way that feels intentional. A rare planetary parade is forming, and whether you believe in astrology deeply or you simply feel subtle shifts in the air, something about this alignment refuses to feel ordinary. 6 powerful planetary forces appear together in the sky, and when that happens, history shows that internal awakenings often mirror celestial patterns. This is not about superstition, it's about symbolism, it's about timing, it's about momentum. When multiple planets visually align from Earth's perspective, it creates what astronomers call a planetary parade. This year, the lineup includes Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. From a scientific standpoint, these planets are not physically stacked in a straight cosmic line. They are separated by millions of miles. But from our viewpoint on Earth, they appear to converge. And human beings have always found meaning in convergence. Think about it. When things in your life align, timing, opportunity, mindset, it feels powerful. It feels like doors open more easily. The planetary parade of 2026 symbolically represents that same convergence energy. Not chaos, not destruction, alignment. Mercury represents clarity, communication, and mental breakthroughs. Venus reflects desire, relationships, harmony, and self-worth. Jupiter expands whatever it touches: vision, growth, faith. Saturn grounds and structures, demanding maturity and responsibility. Uranus disrupts and awakens, bringing sudden change. Neptune dissolves illusions and heightens intuition. Individually, these archetypes move through your life in subtle cycles. But when they appear together, their symbolic energies merge. And that merging creates amplification. That is the key word here: amplification. This rare planetary parade does not inject something foreign into your life. It magnifies what is already building within you. If you have been ignoring a decision, it becomes louder. If you have been shrinking yourself, it becomes uncomfortable. If you have been preparing quietly for something bigger, this alignment feels like confirmation. Some people will brush this off as coincidence. Others will feel it deeply. If you're here, listening, chances are you are the kind of person who senses shifts before they are visible. You notice when momentum changes. You feel when chapters close. And this is exactly what the 2026 Planetary Parade represents: a chapter shift. Not overnight transformation, not dramatic fireworks, but internal realignment that changes your direction over time. You may notice heightened intuition, not mystical visions, but practical clarity. Suddenly knowing what you want, instantly recognizing what no longer fits. Conversations that were difficult become easier. Decisions that felt heavy become obvious. You may experience vivid dreams around this time, the mind processing unfinished stories, the subconscious reorganizing priorities. It's not magic, it's psychological focus sharpened by symbolic awareness. You may feel emotional sensitivity increase. This does not mean weakness. It means awareness. You pick up on subtle shifts in relationships. You recognize opportunities forming before they fully materialize. This alignment acts like a spotlight. It shines on areas of your life where you've been half committed. And it asks, gently but firmly, are you ready to align fully? Saturn's role in this parade is especially powerful. Many fear Saturn because it represents discipline and responsibility. But during this alignment, Saturn stabilizes breakthroughs. It prevents inspiration from fading. If you receive clarity during this period, Saturn gives it structure. It helps you turn realization into action. Mercury and Uranus together create lightning moments of understanding, a sudden thought, a new idea, a realization that feels like it was waiting for the right moment to surface. That moment may arrive during this planetary parade. Venus and Jupiter amplify emotional expansion. You may feel called toward deeper connections. You may recognize where you've been settling. You may realize your worth more clearly than before. Neptune softens the edges. It dissolves illusions. It asks you to trust your intuition more than your fear. When all 6 archetypes appear together, the message is not random. The message is convergence. Your internal growth, your emotional maturity, your intellectual clarity, your intuition, they are lining up. This is why it feels massive. Because when your internal systems align, your external life begins to reorganize. The most important thing to understand is this: the planetary parade does not force change. It reveals readiness. It shows you where momentum already exists. If you step into it consciously, the shift feels empowering. If you resist it, it feels uncomfortable. If you've made it this far, don't forget to subscribe for daily cosmic insights, astrology updates, and spiritual guidance, because the universe always has a message for you. That is why mindset matters before this alignment peaks. If you wake up expecting nothing to change, your perception filters out opportunity. But if you wake up aware that alignment is possible, you notice doors you previously ignored. Tonight and tomorrow are not about rituals or dramatic gestures. They are about clarity. Ask yourself one honest question: what direction have I been quietly pulled toward? Not the safest direction, not the most logical one, the honest one. That direction is where the alignment amplifies movement. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need a complete plan. The planetary parade supports beginnings, not completions. It strengthens intention, not perfection. Many people will look back at this period and say, that was when things started shifting. Not because the sky forced it, but because something inside finally aligned. The rarest events in the sky remind us of timing. They remind us that cycles exist beyond daily routine. And when you pay attention to cycles, you move with them instead of against them. Once in a decade, the visual convergence of these planets mirrors a deeper truth. Growth accelerates when clarity, discipline, intuition, expansion, disruption, and desire all point in the same direction. That is the spiritual meaning of this planetary parade. It is not about predicting your future. It is about recognizing your readiness. If you feel anticipation, that is awareness. If you feel pressure, that is potential. If you feel calm confidence, that is alignment. Move into this period gently. Observe your thoughts. Notice conversations. Pay attention to sudden insights. Act on the small clarity moments. You do not need to change everything at once. You only need to take one aligned step, because when the planets appear to line up, life has a way of lining up with you too. And years from now, you may realize that this was not just a rare sky event. It was the moment you stopped delaying your next chapter and finally allowed your internal world to match the direction your soul was already choosing. This is the massive spiritual energy shift of 2026. Not dramatic, not chaotic, but precise, timely, and powerful. And if you're still here listening, then maybe you already know. It's your time to align. There is something important most people misunderstand about rare planetary alignments like this one. They think the power is in the sky. They think the energy is something external that descends onto them. But the truth is quieter and far more profound. The power is not descending, it is synchronizing. The Rare Planetary Parade of 2026 does not arrive to change who you are. It arrives to reveal who you have been becoming. Over the past few years, you have shifted in ways that may not even be visible to others. Your tolerance has changed. Your standards have changed. Your patience for certain situations has thinned. Your desire for something deeper, more aligned, more meaningful has grown stronger. You are not the same person you were during the last major alignment cycle, and that is exactly why this one feels different. Planetary symbolism has always reflected inner archetypes. When Mercury sharpens, your thoughts sharpen. When Venus intensifies, your heart reevaluates. When Jupiter expands, your vision stretches. When Saturn anchors, your commitments solidify. When Uranus awakens, your routines crack open. When Neptune softens, your intuition whispers louder than logic. Now imagine all of those internal forces activating within the same window of time. It feels like acceleration. You may notice that conversations during this period carry more weight. Words feel final. Decisions feel defining. Even small interactions seem to carry a ripple effect. This is because alignment energy compresses time psychologically. It makes you aware that you are standing at a crossroads, even if the road signs are subtle. And crossroads are uncomfortable. They require honesty. You may feel called to close something, a habit, a connection, a mindset. Not dramatically, not with conflict, but with quiet certainty. You may feel drawn toward something new, an idea that has been waiting, a risk that suddenly feels less frightening, a direction that keeps resurfacing in your thoughts. This is not coincidence, this is convergence. One of the strongest psychological effects of rare celestial events is heightened self-awareness. When people know something rare is happening, they naturally reflect more deeply. They scan their lives for meaning. They analyze patterns. They become more conscious. That heightened consciousness alone can change decisions. And when decisions change, outcomes follow. The 2026 Planetary Parade is less about cosmic force and more about amplified awareness. And awareness is powerful. Awareness disrupts autopilot living. You cannot unknow something once clarity hits. Mercury and Uranus together may deliver sudden realizations. You may find yourself thinking, "I've been overcomplicating this." Or, "Why have I been waiting?" Jupiter may amplify courage. Saturn may demand follow-through. Venus may remind you what you deserve. Neptune may dissolve illusions you were clinging to. And when illusions dissolve, freedom appears. The key is not to panic during this process. Alignment is not destruction. It is recalibration. Some people will experience this as motivation, others as restlessness, others as peaceful acceptance. All are valid, because this parade does not dictate one outcome. It magnifies your personal trajectory. You are not being pushed somewhere random. You are being pulled toward something that has been forming quietly for months. The rare nature of this event mirrors the rare window in your own life. These windows do not stay open forever. Momentum builds, peaks, and moves forward. The question is not whether something will shift. The question is whether you will move with it. And that is what makes this moment so powerful. Not the planets, your response. Now let's talk about what happens after the alignment peaks. Because this is where most people misunderstand spiritual energy shifts. They expect fireworks. They expect dramatic life changes within 24 hours. They expect visible transformation. But real alignment rarely announces itself loudly. It settles. After the planetary parade reaches its visual peak, you may notice something subtle, a calm certainty, a quiet knowing, a decreased tolerance for confusion, a stronger boundary, a clearer sense of direction. This is integration. The amplification fades, but the clarity remains, and that clarity becomes responsibility. Saturn's influence ensures that whatever insight arrives during this window does not evaporate. If you recognized something true, it will keep resurfacing until you honor it. That is the long-term spiritual impact of a once-in-a-decade planetary parade. It plants something. Maybe it plants courage. Maybe it plants closure. Maybe it plants ambition you've been suppressing. Maybe it plants self-respect. Whatever it plants, it begins to grow in the weeks following the alignment. And here is the deeper truth most people do not talk about. Rare alignments often mark the beginning of delayed manifestations, not instant miracles, but slow, undeniable shifts that trace back to a decision you made during this window. Years from now, you may look back and say, "That was when I decided." Not necessarily when everything changed externally, but when you internally aligned, because alignment always begins inside. The 2026 Planetary Parade is symbolic of unity, multiple forces appearing to move together, and the spiritual meaning mirrors that. Your thoughts, your emotions, your intuition, your discipline, your courage, they are being asked to move together. When those parts of you stop contradicting each other, momentum becomes unstoppable. That is the massive energy shift. Not chaos, not fate forcing your hand, but internal agreement. When you internally agree with your next step, the external world reorganizes faster than you expect. So as this rare alignment unfolds, stay observant, stay honest, stay grounded. You do not need to rush. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to perform transformation. You simply need to recognize what already feels aligned. Because once in a decade, the sky reflects a powerful truth. When everything lines up, movement becomes natural. And if you've been feeling like something in your life is about to click, about to shift, about to finally make sense, you are not imagining it. You are synchronizing. And this time, you are ready.